here at Daytona. Thank you again to all of the fans who have joined us today. This is so awesome to have our first live audience. So thank you to all of you.
Yes, thank you.
And let's talk about this race, Kevin, because we've talked about it earlier in the week, the significance of it, winning a Daytona 500, what it means.
Well, in our sport, there is no bigger race to win than the Daytona 500. So being able to luckily accomplish that and get to victory lane, put your name on that Harley J. Earl trophy is something that, you look at the names on that trophy and there's just, it's the who's who of NASCAR racing. But you also add in that element of anybody can win it. There are a lot of surprise winners that we see with this race. But man, I get the feeling that those past champs are going to be, one of those guys could be in victory lane after this race.
I like this. Daytona, especially coming from the Northeast, like when you come down here and you get into race country, like this is it. And when you walk into this place, it's absolutely insane. You can just feel the energy, the fans, everyone that stays in the infield. The infield is a time. I can't wait to get in there and share some Busch lattes with y'all. But
yes.
Yeah, exactly.
They're ready for
You know
that.
what I'm talking about. But the racing and the fan and the atmosphere here is no better way to start the season off. And I talked to William Byron this past week, and he's like, man, the second one was more unexpected than the first one, but the third one would be the sweetest. So if he can three-peat, that'd be something.
Odds are
something
against
crazy.
him.
Huh?
Odds are against him.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah.
Winning, you talk about winning two, but man, that is quite an accomplishment to win two Daytona 500s in a row. And you can talk about it being lucky, you can talk about this, but when you do it twice, 2 years in a row, it's pretty hard to call that lucky.
You're doing something right if you do it
You're
twice
putting
in a row.
yourself in position, and that is really the most important thing here. Just keep yourself in a position to stay in the front of the pack. Don't make mistakes on pit road. Do all the small things right. And every year that the William Byrons, the Ryan Blaney's, those guys get one more year of experience with their crew chief, with their team, in situations, they just become more dangerous.
Yes, they do. So one story I want to talk about that I'm sure there's some fans of this driver in the audience is Kyle Busch, because last night he was able to get the pole for the Great American Race.
Yep.
We've been talking about Kyle a lot on Happy Hour, whether we're going to see a resurgence of him. Certainly this is things moving in the right direction.
Yeah, well, I'm happy for Kyle. I think that Kyle Busch being competitive and winning races is really important to our sport, and he deserves that. But I'm more happy for Richard Childress.
Yeah.
And Richard Childress is somebody who has meant so much to this sport, winning the Daytona 500 with Austin, myself, Dale Earnhardt. He just has such a legacy in this sport. And I know how hard he works to be able to make those cars fast, how much he cares about this sport. So I'm really excited for Richard. They needed something good to happen.
Yeah.
I know Austin went to victory lane last year, but it's a contract year for Kyle Busch, and I believe that he can still get it done. And I think it's something that Kyle has to be able to be comfortable and get what he wants underneath that car. But the first thing they have to have is speed. Well, guess what? We showed up at the Daytona 500 with speed, and I think that's dangerous for the rest of the field. Yeah,
it's not like Kyle Busch has forgot how to drive a race car.
No.
We're talking about one of the best guys to strap into a race car in the entire world all time. So I'm happy for him, because when you start out the year the way they ended it, which is like without the speed, that's tough, right?
Yeah.
You just feel like it's another year of, oh man, here we go again. So starting out on the right foot.
I think that on the flip side of that, you have to not spin out. You have to not wreck. And when that wasn't happening, they were making mistakes on pit road. So they have a lot to clean up.
Yeah, it's not one thing.
But what happens is you get in those positions to where you're somewhat desperate, and the day is going good, and you want to make it better, and then you push that much too hard, and you wind up spun around backwards, or wrecking the car into the wall. So I think he just has to take a deep breath. He's got to take a deep breath and not try to do too much. And I don't that ability that Kyle has with the old car to be able to drive the car sideways, hang the car out, slide it. It's a different style now. You can't manhandle the cars like you used to. You have to have that finesse and be on the edge. But when you cross it, these things these things spin out, and you find yourself into, backwards into the fence faster than you even know what happened.
So Kyle Busch, obviously, things looking promising for him from qualifying. Who kind of concerned you last night when you watched that?
I was really concerned with the 2311 cars of
Okay.
Tyler Reddick and Bubba Wallace.
The fans are nodding.
Yeah, I think that, last year I think we gave them a mulligan with everything that they had going on with the lawsuit and internally. But the expectation is for those cars to win. They spend the money, they have the resources, they have the tie to Joe Gibbs. Tyler Reddick is expected to be a championship contender. Bubba Wallace got to victory lane at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, but Tyler Reddick's got to win. And I think that we talk contracts and all the things that are up. There are a lot of driver contracts that are up, and if those cars aren't performing, a caliber driver of Tyler Reddick isn't going to sit around and wait for you to figure your cars out. He wants to be able to have what he needs to go to victory lane and has done that. So, is that Cletus?
Probably. Might have been.
Thought he said he was going back.
Never know who could be
Okay. Yeah.
You know who I was pleasantly surprised with was the 99, the fourth entry for RFK. I think that's a big deal for them because they felt like Ryan Preece felt like if he had more Ford help in previous super speedway races that he could have won one or two already. And I think that the fact that their fourth car, that they don't really do much, had that kind of speed. And you got Corey LaJoie, someone in there that you can trust to help get you to victory lane. I think that's a big deal for RFK.
Yeah, and I think that the other caveat to this is the fact that you have guys that have gone purely for speed and trying to keep the speed and the balance in their race car to be able to drive that. Tonight we'll find out, whose cars are driving okay and be able to, are the Trackhouse cars of Ross Chastain and Shane Van Gisbergen slow? Daniel Suarez was extremely slow in qualifying trim. So are those cars, do they have a little more drag and downforce built into the car to be able to try to make them be able to be pushed well, to push well, all the things that go with racing well. So that story is getting ready to be told this evening.
Yeah. Justin Allgaier made it in. It's a big weekend
Yeah.
for the Earnhardt family. Great to see that once again out of that team.
Yeah, and I talked to Dale yesterday, and you could tell he was pretty confident. He felt like, his cars, the car was better than it was in practice last year, and the effort that they had made was in a little better place than where he felt they were last year. But, I'd really want to see that junior motorsports team full-time on the Cup side. I think that it means so much to the sport to have Dale and Kelly on pit road. And I know there's a lot of things that go into that. But the more races that 40 car shows up at the racetrack, the better it is for our sport.
Yeah, for sure. Kevin, I wanted to kind of look at the duels. You kind of were talking about it a little bit with you'll find out tonight whose car is kind of handling right and who went for the speed. How hard is it though? Because we race the duels at night. I just heard a crack back there. You're getting me excited with that Busch Light right there. I heard it.
Those
No,
Daytona
go ahead.
500
Yeah,
fans
yeah.
open right here.
By all means.
Cheers. How difficult is it running the duels at night? We start the race kind of the day. You know what I mean? We're going through a lot of different transitions. How do you know how good your car really is and what you need to do for the 500?
You have to definitely, I think you can lean a little more towards the speed. But if you get any hint that your car is not handling well tonight, you're in big trouble on Sunday. And you got to remember, tonight's pack is half the size of what it's going to be on Sunday. So that momentum of the pack and that energy of the pack is going to be a lot different than what you see tonight. But you got to be able to cue off of the things that you feel. Do you have enough speed in the car? A lot of times you get done with this race, and if your car's not handling bad, you go the opposite way, and you start to try to figure out, okay, guys, what can we do to this car to put a little more speed in the car, whether it's move a mirror or make some adjustments on the ride heights or anything that they can do. There's still some things that they can do to the race cars to make those types of adjustments to either put a little more grip in or take a little bit of grip out, and you got to make good decisions. And that's what, the Joey Logano's, the Denny Hamlins of the world, they're good at helping their teams make the right decisions based upon their experience and the things that have happened for them in the past. So that's where those guys gain that advantage. And what I mentioned earlier with William Byron, Ryan Blaney having more experience, another year under their belt, those are the decisions that they have to get better at and are able to get better at, especially when they don't change anything on their team.
So the duels are tonight. What is the intensity like for drivers to have to race their way in? Because this seems like a stressful situation.
I'd be miserable. But the duels used to be like that. You know, you used to come down here and, you know, the duels were.
It was a whole
you had 7
fire.
provisionals,
Yeah.
and the rest of the field was lined up by those duels, and you could very easily miss the race. So the duels were very stressful, but that's the stress that these guys are under that have to make this race. I think Corey LaJoie's in a good position with the speed of his car, and then you've got, you know, Yaley and Alfredo and BJ McLeod and those guys that have to get themselves in on speed or on race their way in on position, not on speed. They didn't have the speed last night in qualifying to put themselves in position. So very stressful, but it could make the team's year. You look at the top teams, they're all racing to try to get themselves in position to win races and make the championship. Well, that's the same thing that these teams are feeling. To make the Daytona 500 is their championship for the year, just to make the race.
Wow, all right.
Hey, yeah!
Welcome to Daytona!
I got it.
No, we couldn't have scripted that any better.
I forgot. That's my favorite part about Daytona. I forgot. That never gets old. All week long, that's going on. Kevin last year got to ride in it. I mean, what'd you say the pucker factor was on that last year?
Well, last year I rode, and we took off down the runway, and the first thing we did was go 90 degrees straight up in the air.
Oh, boy.
And then we did a barrel roll, and I'm like, oh, man, what have I got myself into? But you're nervous. You're like, am I going to pass out, puke? I didn't pass out, and I didn't puke, and I got to fly the plane, and I got to do everything that we were supposed to do. And I did join the 9G club.
Oh, okay.
Ooh.
And I can tell you, my vision got to be about that wide. I was sunk down in the seat like this, saying, I'm not going to quit. And it's a good thing I didn't quit because I couldn't talk.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't breathe and I couldn't see. And then the pilot was like, well, you did it. I'm like, oh, thank God, because I couldn't say anything.
I got to be
that
honest.
was
I'd
wild.
rather do that than ride with Cletus. Just knowing Cletus,
So?
I'd much rather do that than ride with Cletus.
That was perfectly timed. We set that up just for happy
Yeah,
hour.
we planned that earlier. They were a little late, but
But, I mean, that's part of all the pre-race pomp and circumstance, if you will, of the 500, which makes it so special.
I'm going to be pissed if we aren't in the booth by the time the flyover happens. So we're going to have to talk to our pre-race producer, because when you're standing in the booth and you see the flyover making its way towards you, and those planes and you can see them before everybody else because we're so high, and all of a sudden they get here and you realize how fast they're going, how far away they actually were just a second ago, and they fly over the first time and you get comfortable and you're getting settled in, and they always sneak back up on you. So remember that. Be ready for the reverse flyover, because it's going to happen, because they really enjoy scaring the crap out of us.
They were flying out here earlier today. Did you hear them? They went over a lot earlier.
Earlier today, at the end of the ride, you do the flyover. You go directly over the racetrack like they do the flyover. Then you do the reverse flyover. But if you noticed, they make laps. They made 2 laps around the racetrack, and I felt like we might hit a light pole last year.
They took Zillage and JH.
Here they go again.
Zillage and JH went today. Kevin, you were talking about it making someone's year just to make it into this race, and how scared you would be if you had to race your way in. The crews that
Not scared.
Oh, not scared.
Just a lot of anxiety.
Anxiety.
does
Anxiety. Better word.
Yeah.
The crews that are already in, the teams that are already in, that anxiety is still there, because if you have to fix your race car by getting in someone else's mess, that's a lot of work.
And I'd say they're less worried about wrecking than they are sucking and being slow, because it's a long few days if your car doesn't have any speed and it's handling good and you don't really know what else to do to it. But look, this is the race that you see the most prepared cars from every team. They've had all winter to work on their cars. They know how important this race is to whiz.
Is to win.
We
knew what he
meant. Yeah, we're going to whiz all over it. They know how important this race is to the race team. They know how much money it pays. They know the significance of putting your name on that trophy. So it's the race where it's the most competitive, and it is the most competitive that I have seen it in a long time. When you look at the manufacturers split up through that qualifying rundown last night, it's all over the place. It's not Ford stacked at the top or Chevy stacked at the top. It's split up really well as far as being competitive. So excited.
You mentioned the manufacturers. This race is all about working together. The Chevys have a new nose. How do you think that's all going to play out?
Well, we're going to find out. We're going to find out how good they push.
Yeah.
They specifically redesigned that car to be better pushers and being able to be pushed on these super speedways. So, it's now that this car is super finicky. Does it affect the handling? It's going to affect the balance. And you do everything that you can do and to get your car where you think it needs to be. But you just don't know until you get on that big black asphalt out there.
Yeah, hang on one second, Kev.
Wow.
the one.
Wow. All right. The fans love it.
Last year at Homestead Miami Speedway, I was doing driver intros. They do the flyover after intros, after all that.
Yeah.
I had no idea. They did it right in the middle of intros. I about my pants. I swear, because it rattled the whole stadium. But it's really cool, man.
Well, there's no sport that does. There's no sport that supports our military better than NASCAR.
That's right.
And we have a great relationship with the military and support our military as everyone should. And I think when you see these types of things happening and you see the troops in the stands, in the pits, and every team goes out of the way to make sure that those guys get the respect and gals get the respect that they deserve for what they do for our country.
I know we got some closers that are military. If you guys are out here, I appreciate y'all.
Yes, very much so. Thank you. Thank you for your service. So we're talking about Daytona. I feel like everyone remembers the first time they came here. Do you remember, like, what you thought the first time you saw this place?
Yeah, I came here. Jeff Gordon won. It was like the early 2000s. I forget what year. Maybe 03.
Okay.
I didn't even know you were born yet.
That's because black don't crack, Kevin. I just look like a baby. Yeah, and it was amazing. Like, me and my dad came, and like we always went to New Hampshire Motor Speedway, and that's our home track. But then, yeah, exactly. There we go. But we came down here, and it was just different.
Right now,
cold as he said, cold as hell. It was just different. It was just so, I don't know, it was so cool. I can't really put into words. And then I think Ward Burton flipped down into the tri-oval that year, and Jeff won, and I was mad as hell because I was a Stewart guy and like a little bit of a Kevin guy, not that much, a Stewart guy.
What year was this?
I think it was like 03.
Okay.
5.
There you go. Look at that fan with this.
There we go. Appreciate you.
Yeah, that's what I love about you guys. You always keep our facts straight.
That's exactly what we love about it.
Somebody's got to keep our facts straight because I can't remember what I did yesterday.
But do you remember the first time you came here?
I came here as a fan for this night right here. I came for it was daytime races at that point, 1995.
Oh, wow.
Sat in the grandstands going into turn 1 and watched both qualifying races. So that was the only time that I had been here when I came back in 2000 for the first time with the Busch Series car. So it's a special place, and there's nothing like the first race of the year being your biggest race of the year. The hype, the enthusiasm, and excitement that goes with this is you can't match it anywhere else. And I think that the things that NASCAR has done this year to put us in a better position to be who we are as a sport, promote us as a sport of just being badass.
Yeah.
That is what NASCAR racing is all about. We don't need to be like everybody else.
No, we want to be our own selves. You mentioned a badass, and this weekend also is about Dale Earnhardt. And I want you to reflect for a moment about him. It's 25 years since his passing. We have a special documentary on FS1 that's coming up tonight after the duels. Just tell your reflections.
Well, it's hard to believe that it's been 25 years, and obviously I lived that situation pretty closely, getting in the car the next week. And I think back, to just the time of that period of when the accident happened to the unknown. We were actually at Mike Dillon's house in the kitchen. They called and said, hey, you need to come over, and that's when I knew that something was not right. So you're sitting there waiting, trying to understand what's going on, and then it's all the questions, right? What's going to happen with RCR? Who's going to drive the car? How's the sport going to go on? And 25 years later, the sport is still going on, but it's just missing a big piece of what was so important to NASCAR racing with Dale, and he had such a massive influence on everything that happened the image of who we were and such a strong leader of the sport. So it was a pretty crazy time to be able to adapt to what was going on, get in the car to drive. You think back to those press conferences, with the press conference the next week at Rockingham, and for me personally, that was the biggest press conference that I ever did. It was the most people,
Right.
The most pressure, the most everything that I ever had to experience. But our sport has evolved because of that accident. From a safety standpoint, NASCAR immediately started the safety aspect of trying to get ahead of things and keep up with things and do things in a better way. And we do that all the way up until today. They're constantly looking at every wreck, every piece of equipment that the driver has on, and the racetracks, the soft walls. You think about the impact that one accident had on the safety of this sport, and it'll never be matched. And NASCAR has done a great job of continuing that right into this moment.
I saw a quote that I think it was from Ricky Craven. He said I think he said this in 2001, around that time. He said, in 25 years, we'll look back and we'll be like, they were insane for racing with concrete walls.
Yeah.
And I'm so thankful for the hits that we have seen over the last 10 years or so, especially, that we have those safer barriers for the drivers. And then, obviously, if you guys have never been here, if this is your first time, there's the Daytona Tours.
Wow, that's a whole fleet of them.
I never get told. There's a Daytona Tours building over here, and there's a statue of Dale Earnhardt. I went by it yesterday, and it does something to you every time you kind of.
It truly does, yeah. And we look forward to that documentary tonight. A lot of different perspectives. We'll be talking about their reflections and what that time was like. Okay, so we're here in Daytona. We got to do some Daytona 500 predictions on who we believe is going to win this big race. And Kevin, do you want to do the honors first?
No?
No? This whole picks thing
Here's
is...
the problem.
Here's the deal.
We've seen qualifying, but we've not seen one lap of practice with everybody together. So
Yeah.
I'm just going to say it's a past champion.
We don't
Yeah.
see that on Monday either, for the record, though.
Yeah.
What do we normally pick?
I'm going to pick a past champion. I just don't know
Okay.
which one yet.
All right, so you're really not going to make a selection?
Because
He's
I'll just
copying
look
now.
dumb.
Mamba, you go ahead.
I have to go first?
Well,
Oh,
do you
you're
guys
second.
want me to
I
go
already
first?
went.
Oh, who'd you pick?
I picked like 8 guys.
He's picking 8.
This is what I have to deal with, y'all. Like, this is the type of
It's my
stuff I
show.
have to deal with.
It's my show. I can make the rules.
It's
right.
Kevin's show, they are
That's right.
saying.
Seniority rules. Sorry.
Wait, how?
You
Okay,
can only
real
pick.
quick.
You can only pick one guy.
Real quick, though. We have, these are our closers, so they know that we keep points for all year.
Yeah. And
How is
remember
this
who
gonna?
won?
That means you're down
Me.
a race for the points. Because you're not picking
Did
anybody.
I not already pick?
No.
Did we pick on Monday? Because I was literally just thinking that.
We
No.
didn't pick.
We
We
did
did
not
not.
pick.
That
so
we
Oh,
can't even
I heard
for
that,
this.
Tyler. Tyler's in my ear.
Our
telling
producer's
you to
yelling
make
at
me
us right
pick.
We didn't pick.
I have to pick?
Yeah.
Well, I can pick for the show, but I'm just, I'm as a formal disclosure, I might change my pick on Sunday, so don't hold me to it.
Okay, well, go
Okay,
ahead and
well,
make
who's
a
your
I'm gonna
pick?
pick Blaney.
selection.
Okay.
Yeah,
That took way too much time for you to just admit that.
I'm just looking for airtime.
Okay.
There you go. All right,
David-
do you want to go?
No, you go.
That's rude.
I'm
ladies
actually
first.
Oh, good point.
similar to Kevin. I'm going to pick a former champion.
Okay.
Who I think we've been talking about him a lot so far already. His name is Chase Elliott. I think Chase Elliott can get a Daytona 500 win.
Okay.
We all believe this format could be good for him too, so this
Yeah.
could start it off on a good foot.
Listen, I love that Kyle Busch is on the pole, and I don't want to jinx him because I really would like to. I would really like to see him in victory lane, but I'm gonna go with Ryan Preece.
Oh, I like
I'm going
that.
with Preece. I think that it's about time that he finishes one of these ones with the
Yes.
wheels on the ground. So I'm going with Preece in that 60
I love
car.
that pick.
Oh, you can't beat momentum either.
Yeah,
The guy's
no.
been on a roll.
true.
It
Even
matters.
The Clash, one in his modified this week, so
So you-
momentum's hard to beat.
Daytona
So you're
500.
Here come the
not
airplanes
going?
again.
That is unbelievable. Wow. All right. So
Very formal.
are you just going to keep saying you're not making a choice? You're not.
I already picked.
You did? Wait.
Yeah, I picked Ryan Blaney.
Oh, I didn't even hear him say it. I didn't even hear
I'm
him
used
say
to you
Ryan
ignoring
Blaney.
me, so.
Oh, that's not true. Okay, so Blaney, Priest, and Elliott. Those are our picks.